By watching or listening to this show, you are acknowledging that you are of legal age to purchase and consume cannabis in your region. This production is for adults only. Welcome to the Cannabis 101 podcast, part of the Cannabis Life Experience. Your guide through the legalization and consumption of cannabis in Canada and beyond. Join us on this journey and adventure with the wonderful plant. Here's your host, Dean Millard.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 89, hour 2 of the Cannabis 101 podcast. My name is Dean Millard, and on this show, it's not just about getting high, it's about getting healthy. And we're going to tell you about how you can improve your health when it comes to communicating with the cannabis community today, thanks to a very, very cool new app. But before we get to all that, there is one unique way we kick things off, and that's by finding out what's your groove.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Can you dig it?
Kinda grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
Pipe in a crate, long in a blend.
This is great. This is the bee's knees.
Can you dig it?
So if this is your first time hanging out with the Cannabis 101 podcast, when I say what's your groove, simply if you're grooving to something while listening to the show, joint, bong, edible, drink, anything like that. Maybe you just have a relaxing, nice CBD when the flower, in tea form, in oil form, anything like that. I'd like to know what's your groove, and anytime you chime in on anything during this show, your name will go in a hat. We'll draw a prize, and somebody gets a little lucky. You can get me on Twitter at the Cannabis 101, and we'll give you the rest of the contact information as we go. Once again, I'm rocking the Blue Dream Click from Original Stash in the Slash from Stonesmiths. This device is so portable. It's so great. I can't wait to have this camping this year. Just 2 clicks, boom, auto fire mode. I'm going to get my groove on. I get a lot of floral from that Blue Dream, especially in something like this. There's a bunch of temperature settings, so it is awesome. I really like it. So we'll tell you more about the Slash and Stonesmiths and the rest of our great partners as we go along the program. But here is what's coming down the hash pipe on episode 89, hour 2. Winder Hughes, the CEO and founder of Relevnt, cool new app that we'll also be discussing in depth. I'm on there. I've got a Cannabis 101 podcast vibe. That's the Hangouts that we call it, and it's really cool. We're going to be doing some exciting stuff, some live audio chats that you, the audience, can be a part of with a bunch of questions. So we're going to tell you all about that as we go with Winder. Of course, Chris Ianson is our educator and a regional manager with Plantlife Cannabis. He's going to drop by with a terrific cultivar, Querkle from Greenade. It's got a great lineage. It's got a tasty aroma and a great vape, as I'll throw it in the Volcano hybrid. So looking forward to bringing you that story. Also some good news from Plantlife, and I got a great surprise today when I swung by to pick up the bud. A cultivar that I've been dreaming about, thanks to these two guys. Think about Up in Smoke, and one of the cultivars from that movie that they talk about, I actually have some. You'll find out in Know Your Buds. Our cannabis question is about balanced cultivars, as it was on hour one. What pairs well with cannabis as an outdoor sport? And we'll tell you about the Weed Weekly and how you can get in on our giveaway every Friday. But let's kick things off right now with the cannabis question.
It's prize time! Chime in on the cannabis question.
Okay.
And you could win a Cannabis 101 podcast prize pack.
Pipe and a crepe, bong and a blint.
Hit us up on any of our social media feeds or email us at cannabis101podcast@gmail.com.
Okay, here we go.
So there you go on the screen. What is your favorite one-to-one cannabis cultivar? Balanced cultivars we're talking about, where there is very close to the same amount of THC as there is CBD. And in the case of the cultivar that I really appreciate in balanced form, there's more CBD than there is THC, and that's what you're kind of looking for in that situation. I do love sometimes finding a pure CBD cultivar. If I ever take a tolerance break, I like to have some CBD on hand in that format. But a nice balanced, I go with Dancehall from Spinach. That's the one I've been able to find. Gives me great, stuff that I need from the cannabis plant without, getting too much in the quote unquote rocked category. So it's perfect for me as I work from home and I work through things during the day. It gives me a nice boost, helps with my creativity and my energy. So I'm quickly becoming a big fan of Dancehall, during the day a couple of times. And then later on, when I've finished a lot of stuff, I can jump into the THC and heavier stuff like that. So you can chime in and win a Cannabis 101 podcast prize pack. Hit me up on Twitter at the Cannabis 101. You can find on Facebook and Instagram the Cannabis 101 podcast, and you can email me, stay anonymous, and still win a prize, cannabis101podcast@gmail.com. Chime in to win with anything throughout the show. You're entered into the prize mix. What is your favorite one-to-one balanced cultivar? Please let me know. And please check out my vibe on Relevnt. We're going to tell you more about this in a little bit, but download the app, join the Cannabis 101 podcast party. We've got a cool message board. We'll be having some live audio chats with Q&As with you, the audience, and the listener and the viewer. And we're going to have current, past guests. Some of our regulars will join us. And I really want you to check it out and become a fun fan of Relevnt and join the vibe. Download the app and check it out on Relevnt. So please check that out for sure. We're trying to get some things organized for later this week. And that's the cool thing is when you're on there, you'll get notified when we do plan something. So it's not just like, whenever you're on there, you'll get notified. Let's say we're going to have David Wiley on from the OZ, and we're going to talk about a few things. You'll get notified that we are having that event, and then you can tune in for it at that specific time or watch it later on if you can't make it for that one. Okay, so what pairs well with cannabis? That is something that I'd like to find out from you, what you pair well with cannabis. What sort of activity, what sort of setting, anything that you pair well with cannabis. For me, it's golfing. And, at one point, I used to be a very serious golfer. I tried to, get my handicap to single digits, never quite got there. And, a lot of my friends would, have joints and things like that. One guy actually had some shatter on a golf course. That was the first time I had ever tried that. I was like, holy smokes, this really affected my golf game. Because, at one point I was serious and I wouldn't smoke weed or anything like that on the golf course because I was focused on trying to get better. And then I just kind of relaxed and started having a little bit more fun. And bringing cannabis into my life, when you're outdoors. Think about it. You're either walking or riding in a cart. It's outdoors, beautiful sunshine, hopefully, great scenery for the most part. You're doing something that does, include some physical activity. It's perfect for me, in my opinion, to add some cannabis. So, if I get back into golfing this summer, I haven't played. I'll definitely be bringing the cannabis with me. The one thing that I do love is disc golf. That is great for cannabis. It's basically the same thing, but you're not riding in the cart. You're actually getting more exercise. And it's a little bit easier on the back and the body than golfing is. So that's what I pair well with cannabis. Would certainly love to hear from you what you pair well with cannabis. Well, this show pairs well with our partners. David Wiley from the OZ joins us every Monday for This Week in Cannabis News. Malcolm LaBelle, the Green Generation Co. Everybody is really helping to build and take this industry forward. Relevnt as well, another great partner. And, of course, Stone Smiths, the maker of the Slash that I showed you earlier. Such a cool device. The coolest thing is that built-in loader. You scoop up your concentrates, put it in there. Thankfully, we don't have winter anymore, but they do have a battery built for winter. So check them out at stonesmiths.ca. And while you're surfing the internet, head to cannabis101podcast.ca. You can find past episodes, some contests, some partners, link up with them, and you subscribe as well while you're there to the Weed Weekly. It comes in your inbox every Friday, and you get the goods, and we have a lot of fun in that. We also have a giveaway on the Weed Weekly as well. So check it out, Cannabis 101 Podcast. Hit the subscribe button, the big green circle, and you are in the mix for some fun and keep up to date with this podcast. We're going to chat with Winder Hughes, the CEO and founder of Relevnt. I've been talking about this app for a little while now. Your chance to check it out is coming up here on the Cannabis 101 podcast. And to take us there, we'll give you the Weed song from the artist My Dead Dog.
Some grass. It's time to bust out this podcast.
Excited to be chatting with the CEO and founder of Relevnt. It is a cool new way to connect, especially if you're into cannabis, because it is very cannabis friendly. Winder Hughes is joining me on the show today. Winder, thanks so much for connecting with me. How are things?
Hi, it's going great. Very happy with kind of how like the whole app is playing out now.
Indeed. Can't wait to describe this. I've been talking about it for the past few shows, and I've noticed some of the audience is starting to make their way over to our vibe. So before we get into it, what did you do before you kind of got into the cannabis space through Relevnt? What was the career before this?
Yeah, so before the Relevnt app, I was a Wall Street guy. So I was on the brokerage side. I had a hedge fund for a while. Then after '09, kind of things went south. I wanted to start something new. I wanted to start like my own brand. The short story was I was playing guitar and I simply wanted to find a way of connecting with other people in my area that like to play guitar. That sounds like a weird thing about how Relevnt has evolved, but that was the genesis of it. And you would think that's an easy ask. Oh, I play guitar. Who else in my local area likes to play guitar? And actually there's no place to do that. So the app grew out of that, was like the founding reason.
That's amazing. Isn't it? Isn't it awesome that, something just kind of grows out of a small idea that maybe you weren't planning on. I'm not sure if you had thought I want to develop an app or anything like that, but you just never know where the next thing is going to come from, right?
Right. And then, because of my history on the street, I kind of knew that how the app started out, it wasn't going to be where it is now. And so we continued here to pivot and morph and, innovate. And finally now, it's like that. It's like the Rubik's Cube, we finally got all the pieces in the right place. It took forever, but finally the cube got put together, each side is one color.
Yeah, I honestly, I was never able to do that other than peeling the stickers off and putting them on manually.
Yes.
So congratulations on solving that Rubik's Cube. So let's talk about Relevnt. First of all, what is Relevnt? Kind of give us the Coles Notes version and why it is important to the cannabis space, because I really think it is.
Yeah. So just the one liner here is Relevnt is an open messaging network, and it's a place where users connect and engage on live audio chat communities that we call vibes, and you find these based on your interest and your location. So that's the simple thing that we're all about. But I think our whole why is bringing real-time, authentic connection with people. And I think that in today's social media world, you have this asynchronous thing. You make a post, people will comment, but it's not real-time, authentic chat engagement. And we think that we bring that. So our big innovation is we're innovating the messaging world with this platform. And it just has all of the features, text, pictures, links, and now live audio. So we bring it all together in kind of one easy to use. And that's where we're at.
Very cool. So I have to ask, and for viewers that are watching, I didn't spell it incorrectly. Why the term Relevnt and how it's spelled, and how did you come up with the term vibes?
So great questions. I mean, it started because the app used to be called Hi-Fi, Life in Hi-Fi, and Rise Above the Noise. It still kind of meant find stuff based on your interest, and had that kind of the music thing to it because of hi-fi. But we're just at the point where this is not the way it's going to work. It's just it's not working. So I'm okay, relevant content, and okay, put those two words together, and of course you get there's the NT from content as well. So it's relevant, and then of course, we had to spell it not the normal way. We had to spell it the cool way, but you at least read it and pronounce it exactly the same way. So, that's where we came up with Relevnt. For vibes, they were called communities at one time. We just felt that was kind of boring, and we were just going back and forth with our developer at the time. This was a real exercise, and vibe just kind of hit us, and then we're like, that's it. Let's call them vibes, and then find your vibe. I mean, we think that's really cool. So that's how we got here, and we love it. I mean, find your vibe is great. Love it.
Yeah, I do. I think vibe is a really, really cool and underutilized word as well. And I said the other day, I was talking to somebody, they asked me about the spelling. I said, just the other E is irrelevant. We just know what is relevant, and come check out our vibe. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But I like that. I love the term vibe because it kind of has that community atmosphere or community feeling, and that's as you pointed out, in this day and age where a lot of texting and not a lot of talking, and people have short attention spans and things like that, this isn't a time to get back to just chatting with each other and things like that.
Yes, and I think that's the whole point, in a messaging environment, and that's the platform that we've built.
So how long has the app been active, and how has the response been?
It's been a long slog, but when we really brought out the live audio piece, which we call vibe streaming, it really started to catch. And part of the problem that we had is that the app has many different use cases, because it's case. It's got all these features and functions. So like, what was going to be the use case that made it catch? Like Discord got started with gamers. So for us, it's been sports. And so we have a piece called Fanatics, and we're building out this network like across all leagues and all teams of Fanatics branded sports fan chat community. So there's like Eagles Fanatics and Sixers Fanatics and Flyers Fanatics. And so that's on its way. It's a younger crowd. They love it. So that's the use case that really now kind of got it rocking.
I love that, and obviously you guys have expanded. We have the Weedopedia, as I'll switch back and people can see the logo down there as well, and that's where the Cannabis 101 podcast vibe is, and some other really really cool shows and things like that. And I think it's just for cannabis, the industry especially, we're federally legalized here in Canada, but yet all of our Instagram posts or all of our other social media posts constantly get taken down. That will not happen here.
No, that's annoying. And how this started, we had a guy that has some clinics based here in Jacksonville. He came to us and says, hey, look, man, like your platform is a great way for my clinic, our staff, and our patients to communicate with each other. I said, let's go. And then he goes, well, also, I'm wired into all the dispensaries, and they don't really have a place to talk. They can't say anything. They have a place to advertise, nothing. So I'm like, well, let's work together. So out from that, I'm like, okay, well, we have a part of the app where we have these collections. We got to have a collection that revolves around the cannabis world. So we came up with the term Weedopedia, and we said, okay, let's make this the global social destination for cannabis, whether it's education, whether it's advocacy, whether it's entertainment, community. And we thought, okay, the best way to get it started then, if we go down that route, let's get some good content in there. Then we said, well, let's go get cannabis podcasters. They like to talk. There's lots of topics out there. That's how you and I connected. So, that's where we're at now. And we're just now beginning to blow up Weedopedia with a bunch of different, content contributors in the cannabis world. So I think over the next few months, it will be truly Weedopedia.
Yeah, it's awesome. We've got some vibe streams lined up for later in the week with some people that are some regular guests of this show that we can have some extended conversations with, some past guests and things like that. So telling people about this, getting excited about the things that we can do, and maybe let's go there. What are some of the highlights that you can do? Whether they're the live chats, how does that sort of thing work? The vibe streams. Maybe tell us about some of the highlights.
Yeah, so I mean, like for podcasters, like the whole problem is they really don't know who their audience is, right? Like you make a podcast, you drop it, and it goes to Spotify or iTunes or to Stitcher, but like where's the social activity that happens when you drop it, right? And then where's the social activity kind of after you do it and between podcasts, and like who is your community, right? I mean, you make a post like on Instagram, it's just not there. So Relevnt is a great place for podcasters to hang out, especially those that are in the cannabis space. But like for vibe streaming, on top of the live audio chat that you can do, you can archive them just like a podcast, right? So yes, the podcasting world is big, but there's a bigger market for people. They don't want to buy all the gear and all this stuff to have an official podcast, but they can still make a podcast on Relevnt because it's archivable. So, or you can just have a live audio session like a Zoom call and let it like just disappear. So there's optionality there for how people want to run their vibe streams. But I think like for podcasters, having this constant daily engagement with their audiences, the same way that your influencers do on Instagram, like in TikTok, this is a great place for the audio space to hang out.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed, posting, different questions about things and seeing the response, and you can leave them up there so that somebody comes in, they see it's pinned basically. So, how does it work for the audience? If I'm having a kind of a live vibe stream and maybe a Q&A, how are the audience, the people that are connected to my vibe, how are they able to join in and ask questions? How does that phase work?
Yes. So A, they're going to find you in Weedopedia. Then they're going to join your vibe. just like you follow somebody. And then when you schedule a vibe stream or you set a chat topic, everyone gets notified. So you can have a chat topic, have an event, folks get notified, so you can bring people together, all at one time, like around certain events that the host will schedule. So it's a really good way to like bring people together around something, just like a show, right? Like if you're going to watch like a TV show at 9 o'clock, that's where everybody is hanging out. It's just that nobody really knows who's watching that show together. So here, Relevnt can bring people together, at one time, in one place. So that's the real value that the audience, and the audience also gets to know each other, right? I mean, you have a lot of fans on your podcast, they don't even really know each other. So here they become friends.
Yeah,
and other podcasters, you meet other podcasters. Like that's what's really cool. So we're seeing other podcasters follow each other's vibes on Relevnt. So, we're building this really super powerful community.
Yeah, and it gives different hosts a chance to add a different variety of guests on their show, and it gives the audience of said shows an opportunity to interact with the host that maybe is only possible through messages and things like that. But this is an actual chance to have a conversation with some of the people that are the audience of the host shows.
Yep, I mean that's what I said. Like real time, authentic connection is what this is all about, and that's what people really do want.
What are some of the really cool things that you've seen so far on Relevnt from the cannabis space? We're just starting out, but there are some really cool things and innovative things that people are doing on there. What are some of the things that you've really enjoyed seeing so far in the cannabis in the Weedopedia space?
I'm just enjoying learning all the new stuff that's happening in the whole industry. I mean, you guys have so much information and perspective, from healthcare and what's going on with the laws and recreation and just entertainment. Is all this stuff there, and it's just getting started. So it's just fun to like see it happen here, because it wasn't here like a month ago.
That's right. And, it's so funny. We kicked this podcast off in May of 2019. And before we did it, we reached out to people to ask them their advice. And basically the same thing we heard over and over again was if you can put all the information in one place, that'd be great, because there's so much information about cannabis that, we still don't even know. It's basically an iceberg. We only know 10%. And by no means am I saying I have all the information, but I try to compile as much of it from experts in the industry as possible. And this is kind of an app version of that, where there's so many different parts of the industry coming together, whether they're podcasters or anybody else. And it's like a melting pot of cannabis information from all different parts of the industry.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's great. I mean, I can't believe that we came up with this great name for it. So it's going to be a lot of fun, like to watch it grow now.
You're learning a lot about cannabis through all the different vibes, and we talked on one hitters, about we call kind of the boomerang customer, that you used cannabis way back in the day, and then probably didn't, and then now coming back around like a boomerang to try it out again. So that's what that sort of thing. But when and why did cannabis become part of your life? Way back in the day. I know we touched on it a little bit in one hitters, but what is it, and what is it about now that makes you want to get back into it?
Well, I mean, I think it still makes you feel the same, right? It makes you feel good. It makes you laugh. It makes you think about things in different ways. It opens your mind beyond what your state was before you consume. So I just enjoy it. Like you listen to music, music sounds better. It sounds different. It turns on. This is what they say. We want to get turned on. Like this turns you on. That's what it does.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I can't wait to get to know more of the other vibes, and have these live streams and Q&As and talk to these people, and really feel like you were in a cannabis community. I think that's a cool thing to be a part of, because right now, unfortunately, we are disconnected from anybody, a lot of people literally, because of the global pandemic. So this actually at least gives us a chance to communicate and do something like that without being kicked off or shadow banned or anything like that.
Exactly.
But, we have federally legalization here in Canada, and we're enjoying that. I know medical is legal in Florida. What's the Florida cannabis scene like?
So here again, I'm just getting into it now. So I was in a clinic just a few weeks ago. I got my card, and I'm now going to go venture into a dispensary. So but apparently there was I don't know if the number was right, but over 10 million people voted for it, when they approved it. So there's a lot of folks down here that want it, but there's only 500,000 people here, I think, that actually have a card. So the market's much smaller, or has a lot of room to grow, versus those who had voted for it. And we'll see what happens on the recreational side of the equation.
Are there a lot of dispensaries in populated down there, or is that also starting? Or there are a lot?
Well, there's about 225 statewide, and so we're based here in Jacksonville. I'd say there's at least a dozen. I mean, they're not like they're rare,
right?
So they're out there.
And is the process fairly easy to go through?
Yeah,
just go see a doctor?
It's so you go in, it's like you walking in to see a doctor. You're going to fill out this form, just like you go to see a new doctor about all your health issues. And then, you go tell him why you need it and why you want to do it. And then he'll prescribe it. And then they send it off to the state, and then you get your card, and then you're able to go buy it from whatever dispensary that you choose to go check out. So,
awesome.
These things are like G&C stores. They're just popping up.
And it's interesting. I think there's only 14 states now that don't have some sort of legalization. New York just, we're getting into this for sure. I don't know if it's going to be federally legalized right away or ever. I'm not sure with Joe Biden, but, state by state, it's just they're falling like dominoes, it seems, in the U.S. Yeah,
so I kind of feel that the federal thing just may never happen, just because, folks, it's just, there's going to be so much nay despite all the yay, right? I just feel like it's just going to be one of those things that just goes on forever. And but the state by state thing, I think, as you said, dominoes roll, but I think this federal thing can just drag on for just God knows how long.
Yeah, and I don't know, with the federal government, the president, whoever the president is, look at the polls. The polls have climbed over the years, overwhelmingly in favor of legalizing cannabis. So it seems, as we pointed out a couple of weeks ago on this show, that the Biden administration seems behind the curve a little bit. But you're right; it could be one of those things that drags on. I think the pressure from Mexico is legalized, Canada is going to legalize, Canada is legalized. There's a sandwich around the United States of legalization. At some point, it will get there. But you're right; it might take quite a long time to do it.
It's just how you have all these older people that are in the Senate, they're in the Congress, and they were products of the 70 kind of 80 stoner age. And so that's how they still view it. And I just don't see them approving it at a national level, giving that kind of perception that I think that they have of it. So I think that you need a new generation of legislators in there to make it happen, and that could be a while.
Yeah, it totally could. So what's it like when you tell people that, hey, I'm the founder of this app. We have this really cool cannabis sector. It's called Weedipedia. What's the reaction with people when you're telling them? Is that changing? Because it's taken a long time.
Yes. it's no longer like, whoa, like that's a bad thing. No, it feels very, except like it's like, oh, good, it's like good. Well, so is it cool? Yeah, like, I mean, here's what we're doing. But the perception amongst like your friends and your peers and people that you tell, you're kind of like worried at first, like, okay, is someone going to freak out if I say that? But now there's no kind of like frown, so, which is a good sign from the public side of things. So, yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. I think public perception has shifted, especially that we're getting more information. The fact that it's federally legal in Canada allows much more research to be done. At some point, I'm pretty confident that in the next however number of years, whether that's 5, 10, whatever it might be, cannabis is going to become much more popular and much more accepted by, the physician and society and people in general.
Yeah. I mean, look, don't you have like some schools now that are doing
Sure.
Courses in it, or, majoring in it? I mean, so it's creeping up.
Yeah, it is. All right. I like to end every interview the same way, and that's by asking my guests what they think is the next big thing in cannabis. So what do you think it is?
I think it's going to be socializing around it, and Relevnt is going to be the place like to hang out. That's the next big thing. There's already all the strains, there's all the gear, there's all this stuff. Where can we hang out? That's going to be the next big thing, and that's what's missing out there today.
All right. Well, it's already there. Relevnt. Download the app today. Find your vibe. The Cannabis 101 podcast has one, and it is a great place to hang out for sure. Winder, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Dean.
This has been a really fun conversation.
Yeah, man.
This is the Cannabis 101 podcast, part of the Cannabis Life Experience, turning the wheel of cannabis one toke at a time.
That's cool. I love talking to somebody who is that quote unquote boomerang customer who is on his way back to cannabis. And we're going to have one hitters later this week featuring Winder Hughes as we get to know his cannabis history. And it's quite fun, actually. Album covers and his first dance with Mary Jane is a pretty cool story. So you'll be able to find that as well as full episodes at www.cannabis101podcast.ca on our YouTube channel and wherever you subscribe to the audio podcast. If you subscribe, it'll just come directly to your library, and there you go. You can also check it out at the cannabis101podcast.ca, where you can subscribe to the Weed Weekly and qualify for our Friday giveaway as well. And while you're there, you can check out our partners like the OZ, Malcolm LaBelle with the Green Generation Co., Relevnt, and of course Stonesmiths. Check them out at stonesmiths.ca. The Slash is the real deal, folks. 4 seconds to heat up, 3 temperature settings, 12-second auto fire mode. It is absolutely awesome, and it's a great way to introduce yourself to concentrates. Please have somebody with you when you try concentrates for the very first time, because they are very, very strong. But the Slash is a great introduction, and even for people that are experienced in cannabis like myself, I absolutely love it. I can't remember the last time I pulled out my dab rig and torch because this is it for me. This is what I will use for dabbing. So I absolutely love it, and I really appreciate their support and the information that we are able to share. It's been a lot of fun. Speaking of great fun and information, we're going to have a lot of that now on Know Your Buds.
Who grew it? What's the terpene profile? Who created it? What is the lineage? How much THC? What's in a name? This is Know Your Buds, a close-up look at cultivars you should try. Or try again. Joining Dean is our educator, Chris Ianson.
Always a blast when I get to catch up with my good friend Chris Ianson, Regional Manager with Plantlife Cannabis, and also our educator here on Know Your Buds. And great to see you once again, Chris. I popped down to the South Common store today to pick up the cultivar we were doing today, and it was great. I got to sign up for the Plant Life family program that you guys launched today, so it was a double dip for me.
Yeah, buddy, that was great. It was great signing you up there. Yeah, we launched it today. It's our loyalty program. Everyone was asking, you shall receive. It's finally here. I definitely, in the 3 months I've been with Plant Life, I've heard quite a bit from our guests being like, "Do you guys have a loyalty program, or you got an app yet?" We do now. We're gonna have some free Plant Life swag. When you sign up, you get a 15% off on your first purchase there, and 15% off your first online purchase too. And then hoodies, hats, masks, and then we're gonna communicate all our upcoming sales too. Super easy to do. So yeah, we're super stoked on it, man. It's great. Awesome.
Yeah, I love it because I spend a lot of time in your establishments, and it's almost like my neighborhood pub, and I'm not staying around and communicating too much that we're not getting in and out during COVID, but I am visiting the stores quite a bit, so I can't wait to pile up the loyalty points and see what I have. I already have a beautiful hoodie, so I'd love to add to my collection of Plant Life apparel. I know you guys got a lot.
Yeah, right. We totally do, buddy. Our apparel site's just going too, and we got kind of the summer swag coming out very soon as well. So yeah, it's super exciting, man.
I can't wait till we're at the point where we actually do have neighborhood pubs that are cannabis stores, and we can hang out and can congregate and be around people again, and eventually we'll get to be able to share joints again. But for right now, it's puff puff, do not pass, and social distance, and everybody gets their own joint as we try to get through COVID-19. And one way you can do that is by having an enjoyable cultivar that relaxes you and just is very, very tasty, and that is definitely on the menu today. We are talking about Querkle, an indica dominant hybrid on the 80-20 side, so it is 80% indica, and this is from Greenade, and this is the rec brand of Sitka Weed Works. So tell us a little bit about them, Chris.
Yeah, for sure, Dino. They're a cannabis company from the BC coast. And they operate out of Sook, BC, which is the tall tree capital of Canada, and it's right near Victoria on the Vancouver Island. And the company was co-founded by CEO Michael Forbes and COO Ian Lang.
I love that you threw in the tall tree capital because, what do we sometimes call cannabis? We call it tree, right? Let's go smoke the tree. I would think I would like to make a trip out to Sook and be walking through those giant trees with a beautiful Greenade joint of maybe Querkle or some of the other cultivars that they have. So that is absolutely awesome. And you know what else is kind of cool is that the two co-founders of this company came together with cannabis being the kind of common denominator because they do come from different backgrounds.
Yeah, for sure. Michael Forbes comes from a background in medicine. Over the course of 16 years, he has created and operated a chain of pharmacies throughout BC and Alberta, as well as numerous other ventures. His company, the Forbes Group, has a very diverse portfolio of businesses. They've got the Salt Spring Island Ales. They've got Casino Royale Rentals, Bubbles Soccer, which is those big inflatable bubbles with just the legs poking out, and you play soccer with it.
Yeah.
That was one of his business ventures. Island View Care, which is a home for dementia patients out on the coast there. West Coast Super Storage, Sitka Weed Works Incorporated, and Forbes Pharmacy as well, which we talked about earlier. And then Clarity Cannabis, which is retail shops in BC with a real heavy focus on education. So this guy's quite the entrepreneur. And Ian Lang comes from like a real estate development side of things. And he had a very heavy focus on cannabis opportunities for the past 5 years. And he was one of the founders of Earth to Sky Cannabis Company. And that's they've got some retail stores in Canada as well.
Awesome. And they come together to form a company that makes beautiful cannabis. So let's chat a little bit about Greenade, what the kind of the process is for them, how they grow, what's the facility like. Take us through that end.
For sure, Dino. Their mission is to produce kind of the best in class cannabis products, and how they plan to accomplish this is their family of in-house growers combined with their micro growing partners will produce this high quality craft cannabis. All their cannabis is all the Greenade cannabis that we see to market is grown in-house at their main facility in Sook, BC, and it's a hybrid greenhouse operation, which is the combination of natural sunlight and auxiliary lighting as well, depending on how it's needed. And it's a small batch production facility, really small grow rooms, ranging from 400 to 1,000 square feet. That's kind of the max there. So that's great to hear. I love when cannabis producers, pardon me, do those small batch rooms. It just means a lot more care goes into those plants. And there's single cultivar rooms too. And everything's naturally slow cured, hand trimmed, and all their cannabis is tended to by human hands, which I feel is very important too. The robots can make mistakes. The robots, don't know what they wouldn't want to smoke, right? So whereas, you get human hands on it. If I'm stuffing jars, I'm going to make sure that it's stuff that I want to smoke. So it's great to have that human touch. They also reuse their rainwater to feed their plants, which is big on the sustainability side. And they also hire local, as the majority of their staff are from Sook or from the island itself.
That is terrific. Not only are they, looking to produce terrific cannabis, but they're also looking to leave a smaller footprint and also provide a lot of work and jobs and careers for those in the area. So, we talk about it a lot, shop local, they're hiring local, right? So right on par and on point with that. That is beautiful. And there's something new on the way, a new brand. So tell us a little bit about what we're going to see from that.
Oh boy, yeah, very exciting news here. It's a new brand called the Sitka Micro Collection. And what it is, on their same grounds where their main facility is, they've constructed several other grow buildings, kind of a micro park of grow facilities on their main facility. And they're being leased out by ex-legacy market growers and their teams. So they're kind of, able to get the best of the best who've been growing for decades, illicitly in the shadows and in the darkness. These guys are now getting their own kind of joint to run and operate on the legal side of things. So that's super wonderful. The first products that we're going to see from them are a Bruce Banner. They're calling it Bee Banner, and a mango merengue. And I've heard that both have been tested over 30% THC. So that's going to be those are going to fly off the shelves. The higher THC stuff does really sell here in Alberta that I've seen, just people looking for that extra kick. But overall, man, what a notion, bringing those legacy growers into the game. I just love it. And we get to see a lot of new talent, and it's going to be super exciting.
It is. And there's a lot of people that have terrific experience that need to be brought into legalization, and they have to go through the process and make sure that they're abiding by everything. And, there's a lot of things that didn't happen in the legacy market that have to happen in the legalization market. So it's obviously a change of pace, but it's very, very exciting. And, they have Bruce Banner on their website, which is sitkaweedworks.com. Fortunately, doesn't work well with the age gating in the system, so some of the cannabis websites don't transfer over to what we're using. But you can find some of that information on their website. It has some good basic information. I'd like to know a little bit more about the process and some of the things that we've talked about. But as they grow and as they bring on this new project as well, I'm sure we're going to see more information develop on the website as well. But if you're looking for straight information about their cultivars and who they are, they definitely have that there.
Yeah, totally, buddy. It's I really hope to see like that micro grow, like an aerial shot and a little story, and maybe even like who's working in this building and this building and this building. Like I just want to learn more about these legacy guys.
Yeah, exactly. I think we have to pull back the curtain as much as possible in an industry that has been in the shadows for how many years. We have to be able to show people as much as possible, how professional and great this industry is, and there's so many great stories out there to tell. So I'm sure we'll see that as well. So let's talk a little bit about the history as we're looking at these big, beautiful buds. What is the lineage with Querkle?
Yeah, the Querkle is a combination of Urkel, which is AKA purple Urkel. It's a phenotype of Mendo Purps, which is actually one that I got to try when I was in Amsterdam. I was in a coffee shop, saw that on the menu, got super excited to hit it, and it was amazing. Really nice, real fruity flavor, and just real awesome indica effects. So it's Urkel, or purple Urkel, crossed with a Space Queen. And Space Queen is a Romulan, which is an indica crossed with a Cinderella 99, Cindy 99, which is a pretty sativa dominant one. There's some Jack Herrera back crossing to the Cindy 99. So Urkel crossed with Space Queen gives us Querkle.
I love it. I absolutely love the lineage story right there, and the fact that you got to have this in Amsterdam makes me so jealous. So kudos to you. Who created this?
Yeah, so it was initially bred by Subcools the Dank, and that's formerly TGA Genetics. And there's a story there with Dave Bowman, was Subcool's name, and he sadly passed away in early February of 2020 after a long fight with the rare condition alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, as well as COPD. And the cannabis world was hit really hard with that news, as he was a legend. Is very well known in the industry. He actually won the Southern California High Times Cannabis Cup Lifetime Achievement Award, the Lester Grinspoon Achievement Award in 2017. And then not long after receiving that award, Subcool lost his home and everything he owned in the wildfires that devastated Northern California in the fall of 2017. And I read some articles that said, when people heard that what had happened to him, a lot of people reached out and sent over money and seeds even and supplies and food, and the guy just passed it along to everyone else and didn't keep a lot for himself. He was always known to put the needs of others ahead of himself. Subcool, we salute you. It's a sad story there, and it's another legend in the cannabis game there, taken from us too.
Indeed, and the fact that we can have this beautiful bud, as I'll bring it up on the screen, is a tribute to Subcool. So thank you so much for all the people that have helped us, but particularly for this cultivar today. Okay, so the THC on this is 19.7%, and we'll tell you a little bit later about what exactly that means. But let's talk about the look on this as I'll bring up the packaging. What do you like about this?
Yeah, totally, buddy. So the packaging, it's a small black resealable pouch, excellent size for a 3.5. On the back side of it, we've got the top 4 terpenes listed on the label, which is great. And that's across all their Greenade products, their pre-rolls, their 3.5s. They all list the terpenes on the packaging. We don't have a humidity pack with it, but it's still really, really fresh. I think those bags really do kind of keep it together. Overall, I dig the packaging. Yeah, man.
I agree. I think that this is the perfect size. I mean, you're looking at some pretty big buds in there as well. So if it doesn't have to all be small and big, small buds in small packaging. It can work out that way as well. So I dig the size as the bag of weed is done. And then as we get a little bit closer look at this, it's just absolutely gorgeous, man. We were marveling at all the different colors in there.
Yeah, it's something to see for sure. Anytime I've shown anybody the Querkle, everyone's like, oh, let me see that. Oh, hold that closer. A lot of vivid colors, some really darker buds for sure, very dark green. there's a lot of like purple flecks to the color as well. There's almost like almost a brownness to it. It's real dark. Looks great though. Excellent dusting and trichomes, and a really nice trim job on all the Greenade bags that I've picked up so far.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And that's the thing, there's a lot of people that, whether they're new to cannabis or they're boomerang customers that maybe tried it a long time ago and are back now, maybe they don't realize that it's not all just green and it doesn't all just smell one way as well. There's lots of different smells and tastes and colors that do come in your cannabis. And you and I are big on looking under the microscope and things. And, the trichome coverage when you get up close on this is absolutely gorgeous. So kudos to the group at Greenade for producing this. And big buds too. I don't have a problem with smaller buds because there's some great stuff that do come in that as well. But I just love opening a package and just seeing something that's just giant. And these things are really, really good size, man.
Yeah, totally, buddy. You like big buds and you cannot lie. Sure. It's nice to see when you crack a jar or a bag and then see one big whopper there. You really get to see the trichomes and the bud shape, and for sure.
Yeah, and we should point out the name that I may have skipped over, but it is a genetic name that it comes from as far as the two lineage that we talked, Space Queen and Urkel. So that's where the name comes from.
Yeah, totally. It's that Space Queen. So they take the QU out of the Queen and they add the Urkel, and so Querkle. Yeah, everybody remembers Steve Urkel, right? Did I do that?
That's pretty good. It's almost as good as Nosy McGee. She has a pretty spot on Steve Urkel impression, but that's pretty good as well. And then with Greenade, that's just kind of a play on words as well, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Play on the words there. I mean, the cannabis is green. Their cannabis is the bomb, just like a grenade. So it's Greenade. Handle with care. Be careful.
No
pull
doubt.
The pin and away we'll go.
That's right. Yeah, open the package, pull the pin, and enjoy. Especially when you like terpenes. As we mentioned on the packaging, they do have their terpenes listed on the back. Not sure how well you can see that, but it is there, and that is great news. So what are we talking about with terpenes with Querkle?
For sure. So the dominant terpene with Querkle is limonene, first up, and that's citrus, kind of a fruity aroma and flavor. Number 2 is linalool, and that's kind of a floral, lavendery aroma and taste. Caryophyllene is number 3. That's Dino's favorite there, and that's like a black pepper kind of spice. And it's pretty popular. We see it in a lot of the rec market cultivars out there. And then we've got pinene is also listed on the package as well. I think pinene is quickly becoming my favorite Dino. And it's gonna remind you of that kind of pine tree, a real woodsy smell to it. But it's just I find when I consume cultivars high in pinene, I feel it. I really feel it in my eyelids. Feel nice and stoned. So it's my fave.
That's awesome. And, terpenes lead us to, the smell of this particular cultivar. And there's some really, really interesting smells in this one, just like there is some interesting colors.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's initially, I smell it and I smell the sweetness. It's fruity, almost like a tropical fruitiness. And then layered on top of that is some like notes of coffee, a little bit of hash. It's very unique smell. Again, this is another one where I've shown people the buds and then I'm like, smell it too. And people are like, oh, wow, that's something else. It is very unique and notable. It smells great.
It smells fresh. It smells like it's grown properly and it's strong. And that's what you really, really want to like. Okay. What about the taste test? I've been sampling this a little bit. What do you get when you taste this?
For me, sweetness is the most notable taste. It's kind of like a grape or a berry, so like a darker berry flavor. There is a bit of a spicy earth on the exhale. Really, really reminds me of GDP Granddaddy Perp. Very, very close on the flavor for me. Like as I was consuming it earlier today, I definitely noticed that for sure. And it's kind of that notable sweet flavor that I associate with the purple cultivars. which kind of reminds me of like a berry grape candy or that kind of artificial flavoring, but in a natural cannabis kind of way.
I really get the sweetness, and I think you nailed the spiciness on the exhale. I'm always looking for that because, as you mentioned, caryophyllene is my big favorite. So I definitely love the sweetness and the spice. So it's funny, I don't like that in like actual food. I'm not a big spicy guy with my food, but I am certainly with the cannabis. So what about your experience? Everybody is a little bit different when it comes to cannabis, but what is your experience with Querkle?
It is great. I highly enjoy Querkle. It's initially a really stellar head buzz. Really gets the mind going. A lot of like fun, creative thought kind of spewing around the brain. Very euphoric, very cerebral. A lot of laughs and smiles. Kind of puts me in a good mood. And then that head buzz kind of settles nicely into a really melty, uber relaxing body stone. Still uplifting and enjoyable though, right? So it's kind of unique in the sense where it makes me want to chill, but I'm still kind of like with it. My head's still there. So super enjoyable, worth checking out if you guys haven't tried the Querkle.
Yeah, and one of those cultivars that people might think, oh, 80-20 indica, I'm going to be knocked out right away because it's so high, but more shattering that myth that every sativa is going to make you want to go run and, win a race, and every indica is going to make you go to sleep. Just shows you that cannabis has a different effect, and it's set and setting, and everybody's a bit different. But, don't be scared away by that high indica and think you're just going to be couch locked. There certainly are cultivars like that, but not all of them, even though they're 80-20 on the indica side, are like that.
Yeah, for sure, man. I definitely think no one should be scared away from that. Definitely worth checking out. And yeah, I do see a lot of people kind of come into stores and we'll mention, hey, I don't want any indicas, man. I don't want to like fall asleep. And I always try and explain that, there's kind of different types here. A lot of we can pretty much call most everything in the store hybrid, right? And there's
sure.
Indica dominant, sativa dominant, right? So yeah, it's just kind of an interesting thing being in store there for sure.
Yeah, like this is an indica that you can still be social with as well, which leads us to the 3 W's: who, what, and when is this good for? Keeping in mind that everybody does react a little bit differently. For maybe those new to the show, everybody has their own endocannabinoid system, so we all react differently to different cultivars. But what do you think the 3 W's are for this one?
Yeah, so my take, who it's good for, I think level 2 consumers, not quite ready for the beginners. I think you're going to want to explore some other cultivars before, jumping into some Querkle. What it's good for, I think it's great for hitting the couch after a long day of work. It's awesome for Netflix, funny movies, documentaries, really good for being social with some chill friends, I think is really nice. Board games as well would be great on the Querkle as well. Any kind of like mentally stimulating, but nothing too active is great for the what. And as for the when, I think it can be consumed pretty much during the day. It can be consumed during the day, but it's best served in the evening. Like if you start your day out with some Querkle, you're just gonna have a pretty relaxed and chill day. So it's kind of more ideal for the evening, but it's not to say you can't hit it to start the day too.
Yeah, exactly. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that, like you said, there's kind of initial whether rush or head buzz, and then it kind of settles in. And quite a few cultivars are actually like that, where you're thinking, oh, geez, this is a bit of a rush, and then the groove kind of gets going. So a big fan of the Querkle from Greenade. As we mentioned, if you want to find out more information, the website is www.sitkaweedworks.com. So big fan of that. I'm going to enjoy this. And, this is going to be a really good one for around the campfire this summer as well. I think that the the Querkle is a great around the campfire. You're going camping. We don't stay up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning partying anymore like we did when we were in our 20s. So this is a great one to kind of chill and stimulate the conversation during the campfire this summer when we're camping. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm really excited about what happened today when I came by to pick up this beautiful bud, indica dominant from Greenade, because you also had this, and this is something that I have been looking for a lot for a long time. This is a dream I've had since I was 16 years old, when I used to listen to these guys on their cassettes, Cheech and Chong, and they had the commercial skit for Acapulco Gold fillers, and it went, "No stems, no seeds that you don't need. Acapulco Gold is badass weed." And so I've been talking about this, this has kind of been my white whale, my Moby Dick for a while. And so it's from Johnny Chronic. It's Acapulco Gold. And I have to say thank you to Rob, one of your very good friends who came through, because this is from BC, and he does travel to BC from time to time. So, you saw me. I was literally like a kid in a candy store when I saw this, when I got to Plant Life today, and you handed this off.
Yeah, right, buddy. Totally, for sure. And Rob's an avid listener of the show, and so he was well aware of your fondness for the Acapulco Gold. So about a week ago, I got a text from Rob saying, "Hey, I got access to some Acapulco Gold. Should I grab some for Dino?" And that was a big 10-4 there. For sure, man. Yeah, definitely. It was awesome to grab that for you, man. And where Robbie gets it from, he's got a condo in Invermere, BC. That I've actually I went to last summer there we did a little boys trip out there, and there's a store called Blooming World that's kind of Robbie's shop to go to, and he's got a really great relationship with the staff and the owner there. And we went there and just got to meet the people and try out all these LPs that aren't available in Alberta too. So it was super sweet. And so it's great to have Robbie always thinking of you and I here with treats.
Yeah, big shout out to Rob. That's so awesome. And I love that area in Invermere. We used to do a golf trip to Kimberley every year. So you're going through there, and we've camped in Fairmont and Invermere before. So I can't wait to make it out there. Obviously with COVID, we're not doing a lot of traveling. So I can't wait to get out there and experience that. I can't wait till this is in Alberta, because I will be grabbing this. I used to think literally that Maui Wowie and Acapulco Gold were made up. I thought that Cheech and Chong had just made these up, and I had no idea they were actually real. When I'm talking when I'm 16 years old, listening to their cassette tapes, and now here I am, a bunch of years later, actually getting to have this cultivar that we would sing that song and bring it up with our buddies all the time. So thanks to Rob, thanks to Johnny Chronic, thanks to Blooming World. I can't wait to make a trip out there and meet the people in person. And thanks to you, Chris, for passing that on to me and bringing your knowledge of the great bud on Know Your Buds tonight. So thank you so much, and people should be getting out and signing up for that Plant Life family program. You can find more information at plantlifecannabis.com. As always, Chris, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, buddy. Thanks for having me, man. We'll see you next week.
The Cannabis Life Experience. It's not just about getting high. It's about getting healthy. Turning the wheel of cannabis, one toke at a time.
All right, that was really educational and very, very tasty. I implore you to go and grab some Querkle wherever you can. And that is going to wrap things up for us on this program, episode 89, hour number 2. Individual segments will start coming out on Thursday, and we'll continue right through to Monday, and then Tuesday we'll have another episode. If you are watching this on YouTube and you're not subscribed, just hit that subscribe button and click the bell. You get a notification every time we put a show out. And if you're listening wherever you are, thank you very much. Just click subscribe. It'll come right into your library. And please, wherever you're listening or watching, let us know what you think of the show always appreciate people reaching out and giving constructive criticism and leaving us a review, preferably with a lot of stars. That obviously helps out podcasters like myself. So yes, thank you very much for watching and, of course, for listening. You can check out the Cannabis 101 podcast a website at the cannabis101podcast.ca. You can subscribe to the Weed Weekly if you're so inclined. We also have a Patreon link there, and you can help us out because, as you know, due to the regulations in Canada, you are not allowed to advertise on cannabis shows for if they're cannabis companies. Other companies can certainly advertise, but cannabis companies are not allowed to, and as you would imagine, that is the bulk of our target audience and our clients. So you can hit us up with a couple of bucks if you're so inclined, but ultimately we know times are extremely tough for everybody, and just listening is certainly something we really appreciate you doing. So you can check out past episodes and so much more at cannabis101podcast.ca. Check out stonesmiths.ca for sure and get a slash in your hands. As we talked about on Monday, or on Tuesday rather, in This Week in Cannabis News, now's the time to take advantage and shop local and get some great products in your hands. You can also link up to me and contact me through the website, or you can email me, cannabis101podcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to become a partner with us and we can share ideas and resources and support each other, that'd be great. If you'd like to be a guest as well, hit me up, cannabis101podcast@gmail.com. And if you're into podcasts in general, I have a few of them at podcastalley.ca, Tracking the Draft with Craig Button. We also have Fantasy Hockey Time and a few other ones that aren't exactly in rotation right now, but could be making their way back at some point for sure. So check out podcastalley.ca if you are indeed into podcasts in general and particularly of the sports variety. We're back at it on Tuesday with a new episode 90. Wow, 10 away from the century mark for episodes, and we really appreciate those of you that have been with us for the beginning and those of you who have joined us along the way. David Wiley from the OZ will be back for This Week in Cannabis News. Malcolm LaBelle from the Green Generation Company on the business of cannabis. We'll have another cannabis character, weed word of the day, another cannabis question, and we'll tell you about the Weed Weekly for sure. Chime in on this week's cannabis question. What is your favorite 1-to-1 balanced cultivar? Would love to hear from you on that one. All right, that's going to do it for this week. As mentioned, individual segments start coming out on Thursday. And as we always do, we leave you with the marijuana song from the artist My Dead Dog. Remember, it's not just about getting high, it's about getting healthy. Have a great week, everybody, and enjoy your cannabis safely.
Mm-hmm.